Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many of you right now are going through something that feels like a mountain you can't climb? Maybe it's financial, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's spiritual. You feel like you're struggling and the world is stacked against you. But let me tell you something today. Struggle is not the end of your story. Struggle is the classroom where success is born. Have you ever felt like life buried you so deep that there was no way you could rise again? Have you ever looked at your circumstances and thought, why me? Why now? I want you to understand something powerful today. You're not buried, you're planted. And there's a world of difference between the two. When something is buried, it's dead and gone. But when something is planted, it's alive and growing. Your struggle right now is not your grave, it's your garden. Every success story starts in the soil of struggle. Think about it. The seed goes into the ground, it's covered in dirt. It's pressed down, it's hidden away. But that seed doesn't complain. It doesn't ask, why did you put me here? It understands that in order to grow, it has to first go down before it can go up. And that's exactly where some of you are right now. You feel pressed down, hidden, and forgotten. But what if I told you that your pressing is actually your preparation? What if I told you that your deepest struggle is the very soil your future success is going to spring from? See, people want the tree, but they don't want the seed. They want the fruit, but they don't want the dirt. You can't have one without the other. And here's the truth. Success doesn't begin at the top, it begins in the dirt. The dirt represents challenges, setbacks, disappointments, failures, and obstacles. The dirt represents the things that make you question yourself, the things that stretch your faith, the things that make you stronger. Without the dirt, the seed can never become a tree. Without your struggle, you can never become who you were created to be. Now let me ask you this. What if the very thing you're calling a struggle is actually a setup? What if the dirt you're under right now is the evidence that God has planted you for something greater? The dirt may feel heavy, but it's giving you nutrients. The dirt may block your view, but it's protecting you while you grow. The dirt may isolate you, but it's giving you the privacy to develop roots that no storm can shake. Don't despise the dirt. Respect the dirt, because the dirt is where the miracle begins. Let me remind you of something. When the seed breaks through the soil, nobody sees the struggle it endured underground. All they see is the plant standing tall. And that's how success works. People will applaud your victories, but they will never understand the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the times you almost quit, the moments you felt invisible. They won't see the sacrifices, the sweat, the sleepless nights, the constant rejection. But that's okay, because your struggle wasn't for their applause. It was for your assignment. And here's the part I love. The deeper the struggle, the stronger the roots. The stronger the roots, the taller the tree. If you've been through something that tried to break you, don't be ashamed of it. That's not your weakness. That's your strength. The fact that you're still standing is proof that the seed inside of you is greater than the dirt around you. Your struggle didn't bury you. It planted you. And soon the world will see the fruit of what you've been fighting through. So when you look at your life and you see struggle, don't shrink back. Stand tall in the dirt and declare, this is not the end of me. This is the beginning of me. Because the struggle you're in right now is not destroying you, it's developing you. And the day is coming when the seed inside of you will break through the surface and everything you dreamed of will start to grow. You're not buried. You're planted, and success is on its way. Let me ask you a question right now. How many of you feel like the weight of life is pressing down on you so hard that you can barely breathe? How many of you feel the pressure of responsibilities, the pressure of bills, the pressure of expectations, the pressure of failure knocking on your door? And sometimes you just want to say, God, why so much pressure? Let me give you the truth that can change your perspective forever. Pressure is not designed to destroy you. Pressure is designed to develop you. Pressure doesn't come to weaken you. Pressure comes to make you powerful. Think about a diamond. A diamond doesn't start as a diamond. It begins as a piece of carbon, ordinary and overlooked. But when that carbon is put under immense pressure for a long period of time, it transforms into one of the most valuable, unbreakable, beautiful things on earth. What made it valuable? What gave it its shine? It wasn't comfort. It wasn't ease. It wasn't privilege. It was pressure. Without pressure, the carbon remains common. With pressure, it becomes priceless. And the same is true for you. You see, we want promotion without pressure, but it doesn't work like that. We want the reward without the requirement, the crown without the cross, the victory without the fight. But the truth is, power is produced in the process. The weight you feel right now, that heaviness that makes you want to give up, that's the very thing molding you into someone stronger, sharper, and more resilient. And let me tell you this, if you feel pressure, it means you're still in the game. Dead things don't feel pressure. Only living things do. Pressure is proof that you are alive and destined for greatness. Now, here's a hook you need to grab onto. Stop running from the pressure and start embracing it. Because the level of pressure you are willing to endure determines the level of power you will walk in. Some people want influence, but they can't handle inconvenience. Some people want abundance, but they can't handle adversity. Some people want success, but they can't handle struggle. Pressure is the gatekeeper to greatness. If you can endure the squeeze, you can step into the spotlight. I want you to think about athletes. They train with weights that resist them. They push against pressure on purpose. Why? Because resistance builds strength. Every time you push against something that's trying to hold you back, you're building the muscle to carry your success. If life feels heavy, it's because you are being conditioned to carry more. You are being prepared for a stage, a platform, an assignment that requires the strength you can only build under pressure. And let me drop this on you. Pressure reveals what's really inside of you. You don't know how strong your faith is until it's tested. You don't know how determined you are until quitting becomes the easier option. You don't know how much fire you carry until life tries to put it out. Pressure doesn't just shape you, it exposes you. And when it exposes you, it gives you a choice of break or breakthrough. Most people break under pressure because they don't understand it. But when you shift your mindset and realize pressure is your promotion in disguise, you stop fighting against it and you start growing through it. So let me ask you again, what kind of diamond are you becoming? If you feel crushed, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like the walls are closing in, remember this, you are not being destroyed, you are being designed. You are being refined into someone rare, valuable, and unshakable. And when the pressure has finished its work, you won't just survive it, you'll shine because of it. Pressure produces power. Pressure produces greatness. And pressure is proof that you're closer to your breakthrough than you've ever been. Let me ask you something right now. How many of you have ever failed at something and felt like it was the end of your story? How many of you walked away from a dream, a business, or a relationship because failure convinced you that you weren't good enough? I came to tell you today that failure is not your finish line. Failure is not final. Failure is feedback. It's information. It's instruction. It's insight. And when you begin to see failure not as the end, but as the classroom, you start to realize every setback is setting you up for a comeback. The problem is we were trained to fear failure. From the time we were children, we were told that failing is bad, that making mistakes means we aren't smart enough, capable enough, or worthy enough. But let me drop a truth bomb on you. Every successful person you admire today has failed more times than you can imagine. The only difference between them and the ones who gave up is this: they understood failure was their teacher, not their undertaker. Failure didn't bury them, it built them. Think about it. When a baby learns to walk, they fall over and over again. And nobody looks at that child and says, walking isn't for you. No, we cheer them on. We celebrate their effort because we know every fall brings them one step closer to balance. But somewhere along the line, as adults, we stopped celebrating our falls. We started labeling ourselves by our mistakes instead of our progress. Let me tell you, if you're falling, it means you're trying. And if you're trying, it means you're still in the fight. Failure is simply feedback that says, adjust your approach and try again. Here's a hook for you. Failure doesn't mean you can't succeed. It just means you've discovered one way that doesn't work. Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb, failed over 1,000 times. When asked about it, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. That's the mindset of champions. They don't let failure define them. They let it refine them. Let me ask you another question. What would your life look like if you stopped fearing failure and started using it? What business would you start? What book would you write? What dream would you chase if you saw failure as feedback instead of final? See, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the pathway to success. Every lesson, every rejection, every disappointment carries information you couldn't get any other way. If you're willing to learn from it, failure becomes your greatest ally. And let me make this clear. Success is not built on perfection, it's built on persistence. You don't win in life because you never fall. You win because you refuse to stay down. Every failure teaches you how to rise faster, stronger, and wiser. The people who make it to the top are not the ones who avoided failure. They're the ones who kept showing up after failing. They're the ones who took the notes that failure gave them and used them to write a better story. So if you've failed recently, don't carry shame, carry the lesson. Don't carry the pain, carry the wisdom. Because your failures are not evidence of your weakness. They are evidence of your willingness to try. And every time you try again, you increase your chances of success. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your mentor. Failure is the voice that says, keep going, you're closer than you think. Your destiny is too big to be destroyed by a failure. Your calling is too great to be canceled by a mistake. The only way failure becomes final is if you quit. As long as you keep moving forward, failure is just feedback pointing you toward the next step on your journey to success. Let me ask you something real quick. How many of you want success, but wish it could come without sacrifice? How many of you pray for greatness, but secretly hope you can skip the grind? The truth is this: there is no success without struggle, and there is no reward without discipline. Pain by itself is just suffering, but when you add discipline to that pain, it becomes training. And training is what turns pain into profit. Think about athletes who push their bodies through hours of sweat, soreness, and exhaustion. Why do they do it? Because they know that the pain of discipline today creates the strength to win tomorrow. They don't see pain as punishment, they see it as investment. And that's what I want you to see. Every sacrifice you make, every temptation you resist, every early morning you rise when your body wants to sleep, every late night you grind when your mind wants to quit, that is the discipline that transforms pain into profit. Let me drop a hook on you. You are going to experience pain in life either way. You will face the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Discipline may feel hard right now, but regret will feel heavier later. The question is not, will you face pain? The question is, which pain will you choose? Because the pain of discipline leads to reward, but the pain of regret leads to wasted potential. See, discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're destined to become. Everybody wants the success, but very few are willing to cross that bridge. Success requires self-control, consistency, and focus. And here's the thing, discipline is not doing what you want. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Your feelings will tell you to quit, but your discipline will remind you why you started. Your feelings will say, do it tomorrow, but your discipline says, do it now. Discipline silences the excuses and amplifies the execution. Now here's the part most people miss. Discipline doesn't just build success, it builds character. It's not just about reaching your goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can handle those goals. Because success without discipline is dangerous. Money without discipline will disappear. Influence without discipline will collapse. Opportunity without discipline will destroy you. That's why God uses discipline to shape you before He promotes you. He's not punishing you, He's preparing you. Let me ask you another question. What dream is waiting on the other side of your discipline? What breakthrough could you step into if you stopped listening to your feelings and started listening to your future? Every act of discipline is a deposit in the bank of your destiny. And the more you deposit, the greater the withdrawal you'll be able to make. Pain is temporary, but the profit of discipline is permanent. And let's be honest, discipline is not glamorous. Nobody claps for you when you choose water over soda. Nobody celebrates when you wake up an hour earlier to read, pray, or build your business. Nobody throws you a party when you work late instead of watching TV. But hear me clearly, just because it's silent doesn't mean it's not significant. Discipline works in the dark before it shines in the light. And one day, the very people who ignored your grind will admire your glow. So here's a hook. I want you to hold on to. Discipline is the secret ingredient that makes the impossible possible. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. Discipline is the multiplier that turns effort into excellence and trials into triumphs. Without it, pain remains pain. With it, pain becomes profit. So the next time life gets hard, the next time you feel like quitting, remember this: the pain you're feeling right now is not here to stop you, it's here to sharpen you. And if you stay disciplined, you will turn every ounce of that pain into profit, and the reward will be greater than the struggle ever was. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why you've had to go through some of the struggles you've faced in life? Why you had to experience pain that felt unbearable, challenges that seemed unfair, or battles that left you scarred? What if I told you today that the very thing you're going through is not just about you? What if I told you that your struggle is actually the solution to someone else's problem? See, we live in a world where everybody wants the blessing, but nobody wants the burden. Everybody wants the testimony, but nobody wants the test. But hear me clearly. The pain you're enduring today will one day become the encouragement that lifts somebody else tomorrow. Your scars will become someone else's roadmap to healing. Your tears will water the seeds of somebody else's faith. Your breakthrough will be the evidence that breakthrough is possible for them too. Think about it. When you hear the story of someone who rose from poverty to wealth, from sickness to health, from rejection to influence, doesn't it stir something inside of you? Their struggle inspires you because their survival shows you it's possible. That's exactly what your life is going to do for someone else. Somebody needs your story. Somebody needs to see that you didn't give up when you could have. Somebody needs to see that you kept fighting even when it hurt. Because if you made it through, then they can too. Let me drop a hook on you. Your struggle is not just personal, it's purposeful. The enemy wants you to believe that your pain is pointless, that your hardship is meaningless. But the truth is every ounce of your struggle carries significance beyond yourself. Your life is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you inspire. Every sleepless night, every lonely battle, every closed door is preparing you to open doors for others. Now let me challenge your perspective. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, who else? Who else will benefit from what I'm learning? Who else will be set free by the lessons I've gained? Who else will rise because I refuse to quit? When you stop seeing your struggle as a prison and start seeing it as a platform, you begin to realize that your pain was never wasted. It was invested. And the return on that investment is the impact you will have on people you haven't even met yet. Think about every great leader, every world changer, every voice of influence throughout history. Their power didn't come from a perfect life. Their power came from the fact that they overcame something that should have broken them. They turned their private struggles into public solutions. They transformed their trials into testimonies. And that's why their stories still move us today. You have the same opportunity. Let me give you another hook. People may admire your success, but they will connect with your struggle. Success impresses people, but struggle impacts people. Nobody relates to perfection, but everybody relates to pain. And when you're willing to be honest about your journey, you give people permission to believe in their own. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by what you're facing, remember this, you're not just carrying that struggle for yourself. You're carrying it for the people who will need your story, your wisdom and your strength. You're carrying it for the person who's one step away from giving up and needs your example to keep going. Your struggle is bigger than you. It's the seed that will produce a harvest of hope in someone else's life. The truth is this, somebody's breakthrough is locked up inside your story. Somebody's healing is connected to your journey. Somebody's success will spring from your survival. Don't waste your struggle because it was never just about you. Let me ask you something. How many times in your life have you felt like quitting? How many times have you poured your heart into something only to feel like the results weren't worth it? Maybe you started a business and it failed. Maybe you pursued a dream and people laughed at you. Maybe you tried to change your life, but the old habits kept pulling you back. And in those moments, quitting felt easier than continuing. But here's what I need you to grab hold of today. Success is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not even about timing. Success is about refusing to quit. The people who succeed are not the ones who had it easiest. They are the ones who kept going when everything in them wanted to stop. They are the ones who said, I may bend, but I will not break. I may stumble, but I will not stay down. I may cry, but I will not quit. That's the mindset that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Let me drop this hook on you. Quitting guarantees failure, but persistence guarantees progress. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your breakthrough. You might not see it right away, but the momentum is building. The doors are shifting. The opportunities are aligning. The only way you lose for real is if you stop moving. As long as you're still in motion, success is not just possible, it's inevitable. Think about water dripping on a rock. One drop seems insignificant, but drop after drop after drop over time carves out a space in the hardest stone. That's persistence. That's the power of refusing to quit. Your consistency will accomplish what your intensity never could. Some people burn bright for a moment, then disappear because they couldn't endure. But those who endure, those who keep showing up, keep pushing, keep believing, they cannot be denied. Now let me ask you another question. How many dreams have died? Not because they weren't possible, but because somebody gave up too soon. How many businesses never succeeded? Not because the idea was bad, but because the person quit right before the breakthrough. What if you're only one more attempt away from the success you've been praying for? What if you're closer than you think, but the temptation to quit is trying to rob you of the victory that's already written in your future? Here's another hook. Life will test your commitment before it rewards your consistency. You'll be challenged, you'll be stretched, you'll be tempted to walk away. But if you endure, you will inherit. Quitting may give you relief today, but persistence will give you results tomorrow. And when you refuse to quit, you turn obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into setups, and struggles into stepping stones. Think about every success story you admire. None of them were written without adversity. Every champion has scars. Every achiever has failures. Every victor has a story of pain they had to push through. What sets them apart is not that they avoided difficulty, but that they didn't allow difficulty to make them quit. So the next time you feel like giving up, remind yourself of this truth: success doesn't belong to the strongest, the smartest, or the fastest. Success belongs to the one who refuses to quit. If you stay in the game long enough, if you keep fighting when it hurts, if you keep showing up when it's inconvenient, eventually success has no choice but to bow to your persistence.